Opening. The perfect family portrait. My sister Jessica's 35th birthday party was being held at my parents' pristine suburban home, where every detail had been orchestrated to showcase our family's success and social standing. The backyard was decorated with elegant balloon arrangements and catered tables, while neighbors and family friends mingled on the manicured lawn, discussing property values and vacation plans. I stood alone near the garden shed, watching the festivities from a safe distance while my family celebrated Jessica's latest promotion to senior partner at her prestigious law firm. She looked radiant in her designer dress, accepting congratulations from the assembled guests who'd come to honor the daughter who'd fulfilled every parental expectation. Meanwhile, I was the family member they preferred to keep in the background, 33-year-old Diana Martinez, whose unconventional career choices had never quite fit their definition of success. While Jessica climbed the corporate ladder at a white-shoe law firm, I'd spent the past decade working in private security, eventually building my own firm specializing in executive protection services. But my family had never understood what I actually did. They knew I worked in security, which they interpreted as mall cop or nightclub bouncer, jobs that embarrassed them at their country club gatherings and neighborhood association meetings. Diana's still figuring things out, Mom would tell people when asked about her other daughter. She works in security services. Nothing as established as Jessica's legal career, but everyone finds their path eventually. What Mom didn't know was that Martinez Security Solutions had become one of the most respected executive protection firms on the West Coast. My clients included Fortune 500 CEOs, federal judges, and entertainment industry executives who required discreet, professional security services. But explaining that would require my family to understand the complexities of threat assessment, protective intelligence, and executive security operations, concepts that didn't translate easily into their social circles. Time for family photos, Mom announced, gesturing for everyone to gather near the rose garden where the lighting was perfect for capturing the day's memories. Jessica's husband and their 2 children positioned themselves in the center, while extended family members arranged themselves according to the unspoken hierarchy that governed all our family gatherings. I started to move toward the group, but Mom held up her hand. "Diana, maybe you could take the photos for us?" she suggested with false brightness. "You're so good with technical things." The implication was clear. I wasn't meant to be in the photos with the successful family members. Better to have me behind the camera, capturing images of achievements I'd never match. "Family photos are for successful children," Mom declared to the assembled guests, her voice carrying just enough volume to ensure everyone understood why one daughter was posing while the other was relegated to photographer duty. The comment hit me like a physical blow, but I maintained my composure and accepted the camera. I'd learned over the years that protesting only made these moments more awkward for everyone involved. "Diana's always been more behind the scenes," Jessica added with the casual cruelty of someone who'd never doubted her place in the family hierarchy. "She's better at supporting other people's success than building her own." I began taking photos of my family's perfect moment, watching through the camera lens as they celebrated conventional achievements while treating me like hired help at my sister's birthday party. That's when my phone buzzed with an urgent message from my operations center. "Build up, the gathering storm." The text was from my lead security coordinator. "Priority Alpha situation developing. Client receiving credible threats. Need immediate response authorization." Priority Alpha was our highest threat level, the classification reserved for situations involving imminent danger to protected individuals. I stepped away from the photo session to handle the situation, but Mom's voice followed me across the yard. "Diana, we're not finished with pictures," she called out with mild irritation. "Can't your security guard work wait until after Jessica's party?" Security guard work. As if I spent my days checking IDs at office buildings rather than protecting some of the most powerful people in the country from sophisticated threats. I found a quiet corner near the house to call my operations center, but the family conversation continued within earshot. "Diana's job is so unpredictable," I heard Mom telling the neighborhood association president. "We never know when she'll get called away for some security emergency. It's not the kind of stable career that builds long-term success." Stable career. My company had generated $12 million in revenue last year, with a client retention rate of 98% and a waiting list extending 6 months into the future. "Martinez Security Solutions, this is Diana," I said when my coordinator answered. Diana, we have a situation with the Williamson account. Federal law enforcement just confirmed credible assassination threats against Judge Williamson. She needs immediate extraction from her current location and secure transport to the safe house. Judge Patricia Williamson was one of our highest-profile clients, a federal appellate judge who'd been receiving death threats related to her rulings on organized crime cases. My team had been providing discreet security services for her family for 8 months. What's the timeline? I asked, watching my family continue their photo session without missing my absence. FBI wants her moved within the hour. They're coordinating with our team, but they specifically requested you lead the operation. Apparently Judge Williamson trusts your tactical assessment more than the federal agents assigned to her case. I glanced back at the birthday party, where Jessica was opening presents while guests applauded her success and bright future. The contrast between my family's perception of my work and its actual importance was almost surreal. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I told my coordinator. Have the tactical team meet me at the staging area. As I ended the call, I realized I needed to leave Jessica's party to coordinate a federal security operation involving assassination threats against a sitting judge. But explaining that to my family would require them to understand that my security guard work involved protecting some of the most important people in the judicial system. Diana, where are you going? Dad asked as he saw me walking toward my car. We haven't cut the cake yet. I have a work emergency, I said simply. A work emergency? Jessica laughed from her position surrounded by presents and well-wishers. What kind of security emergency happens on a Saturday afternoon? Before I could answer, my phone rang again. This time it was Judge Williamson herself calling my direct line, a number reserved for only my most critical clients. Diana, thank God, she said when I answered. The FBI briefing was terrifying. They have specific intelligence about a contract on my life. I need your team to handle this situation immediately. Judge Williamson, we're already mobilizing, I said, acutely aware that my family was now openly listening to my conversation. I'll personally oversee your security detail until this threat is neutralized. I can't tell you how much that means to me. After 8 months of working with your team, I trust your judgment more than anyone else's. The federal agents are competent, but you understand the nuances of executive protection in ways they don't. As I hung up, I noticed that several of Mom's neighbors had overheard fragments of the conversation, references to FBI briefings, assassination threats, and federal judges. Diana, the neighborhood association president said slowly, did that woman just call you about protecting a federal judge? It's a client situation, I said carefully, not wanting to violate confidentiality protocols. A federal judge is your client? Mom's voice carried a note of confusion that bordered on disbelief. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with another message from my operations center. Media reports breaking about Judge Williamson threats. CNN and local news requesting comment from Martinez Security Solutions. Revelation: when protection becomes public. The birthday party atmosphere shifted dramatically as more details emerged about the federal security situation. While I tried to discreetly handle coordination calls with my tactical team, fragments of conversation were overheard by guests who were beginning to piece together that the family's unsuccessful daughter was apparently involved in protecting federal judges from assassination attempts. Diana, I need to ask you directly, Dad said, his voice carrying a tone I'd rarely heard from him. What exactly do you do for a living? I run an executive protection firm, I said simply. We provide security services for high-profile clients who face credible threats. High-profile clients like federal judges? The neighborhood association president pressed. Before I could answer, 3 black SUVs with tinted windows pulled into our quiet suburban street, their presence immediately commanding attention from every neighbor within a 6-block radius. The lead vehicle stopped in front of our house, and I recognized my tactical team leader stepping out wearing the kind of professional attire that clearly marked him as something more serious than typical private security. Ma'am, we have the situation report ready for your review, he said as he approached, handing me a tablet with tactical assessments and threat analysis. FBI liaison wants to brief you before we execute the protection plan. The sight of professional security personnel treating me as their operational commander was clearly having an impact on my family and their guests, who were struggling to reconcile this scene with their assumptions about my career. Martinez Security Solutions. Jessica read from the tactical team's vehicle markings. Diana, that's your company name. Yes, I confirmed, reviewing the threat assessment on the tablet while my family watched in stunned silence. Ma'am, my team leader continued, Judge Williamson specifically requested you personally oversee her protection detail. She said 8 months of working with your firm has given her complete confidence in your tactical capabilities. At that moment, a news van from Channel 7 turned onto our street, followed by another from CNN. The federal judge assassination plot was apparently becoming a major news story, and reporters were seeking comment from the security firm handling her protection. Diana, Mom said faintly, there are news trucks coming to our house. The first reporter approached our group, clearly recognizing me from previous media appearances related to high-profile security cases. Ms. Martinez, can you comment on your firm's role in protecting Judge Williamson from the reported assassination threats? The CNN reporter asked, extending a microphone in my direction. Martinez Security Solutions is coordinating with federal law enforcement to ensure Judge Williamson's safety, I said, falling into the professional tone I used for media statements. We don't comment on specific operational details, but we're confident in our protective capabilities. Ms. Martinez, your firm has been involved in several high-profile federal security cases over the past 2 years. Can you tell us about your company's specialization in judicial protection services? I could see my family members exchanging glances as they heard me being interviewed as an expert in federal security operations, discussing cases and capabilities they'd never known existed. We specialize in executive protection for clients facing sophisticated threats, I replied. Our team includes former federal agents, military special operations personnel, and law enforcement professionals who understand complex security challenges. And you personally oversee these operations? I founded Martinez Security Solutions 7 years ago after spending 5 years in federal law enforcement. Our success rate in threat neutralization and client protection is 100% over more than 200 cases. 200 cases. 7 years building a company. 100% success rate. Numbers that completely contradicted everything my family had believed about my professional life. Resolution, recognition and respect. As the news crews set up for more extensive interviews and my tactical team prepared for the judge protection operation, the birthday party transformed into something entirely different. Neighbors who'd been politely dismissive of the family's underachieving daughter were now asking detailed questions about executive protection services and federal security operations. Diana, the neighborhood association president said, approaching with obvious respect, I had no idea about the scope of your work. Federal judges, assassination threats, coordination with law enforcement. This is extraordinary. Mom was standing nearby, her earlier confidence about family success hierarchies clearly shaken by the revelation that her unsuccessful daughter was running a major security operation in coordination with federal agencies. When you said you worked in security, Dad said slowly, we thought you meant. You thought I meant entry-level security work, I finished. I know what you thought. Jessica appeared at my side, her birthday celebration completely overshadowed by the federal security crisis unfolding in our front yard. Diana, I owe you an apology, she said quietly. When I said you were better at supporting other people's success than building your own, I had no idea you'd built something this significant. Most people don't understand executive protection until they see it in operation, I replied, checking my phone for updates from the operations center. Ma'am, my team leader interrupted, we need to move to the staging area. Judge Williamson's extraction window is approaching. As I prepared to leave for the federal security operation, Mom approached with an expression I'd never seen before, something that might have been pride mixed with regret. Diana, I realize we've completely misunderstood your work and your achievements. When you come back from whatever this operation involves, we need to talk. We do, I agreed. But right now I have a federal judge to protect. The CNN reporter called out one final question as I walked toward the tactical vehicles. Ms. Martinez, what's next for Martinez Security Solutions? Continued excellence in executive protection, I replied. Our client's safety is our only priority. As the convoy of black SUVs pulled away from my parents' house, I could see neighbors gathering on their lawns, taking photos and asking questions about the security operation that had just unfolded in their quiet suburban neighborhood. 3 hours later, after successfully coordinating Judge Williamson's secure transport and establishing her protection detail at the safe house, I returned to find the birthday party had evolved into an impromptu neighborhood discussion about federal security operations and executive protection services. "The news is calling you one of the leading experts in judicial protection," Mom said as I walked into the backyard. "They interviewed 3 different federal agents who praised your firm's capabilities." "Federal agents understand the complexity of executive protection," I said. "It's specialized work that requires specific training and experience." Over the following weeks, my family's entire understanding of my career and achievements shifted. Relatives who'd been offering me career advice were now asking if I needed employees. Neighbors who'd been politely dismissive were now bragging to their friends about the federal security expert living in their subdivision. But the recognition that mattered most came from Judge Williamson, who called a week later to thank me for probably saving her life. The validation I'd been seeking from my family had been there all along in the work itself. In the threats neutralized, the clients protected, the operations successfully completed. Jessica's birthday party became legendary in our neighborhood, not for celebrating her law firm promotion, but for the federal security operation that revealed the family's unsuccessful daughter was actually protecting some of the most important people in the country from sophisticated threats. Sometimes the people closest to us are the last to recognize what we've accomplished. And sometimes it takes 3 black SUVs and a federal judge assassination plot to make them realize that success doesn't always look the way they expected.